CBSE Class 12 History, Board Exam 2027 Chapter 7, and Imperial Capital, Vijayanagara 150 Medium Hard MCQs with explanations prepared for, Learn Humanities by Jatin Dixit. Q1. Who brought the ruins of Hampi to light in 1800? A. J.F. Fleet. B. Alexander Greenlaw. C. John Marshall. D. Colin Mackenzie. Answer. D. Explanation. Colin Mackenzie, an engineer and antiquarian, prepared the first survey map in 1800. Q2. In 1815, Colin Mackenzie was appointed as the first person to hold which post? A. Surveyor General of India. B. Director General of ASCI. C. Chief Epigraphist. D. Viceroy of India. Answer. A. Explanation. He became the first Surveyor General of India in 1815 and held it till 1821. Q3. The local name, Hampi, is derived from the name of which local mother goddess? A. Meenakshi. B. Durga. C. Pampa Devi. D. Chenakeshava. Answer. C. Explanation. The name Hampi is derived from the local mother goddess, Pampa Devi. Q4. Who began taking the first detailed photographs of the monuments at Hampi in 1856? A. Colin Mackenzie. B. Alexander Greenlaw. C. Thomas Daniel. D. Domingo Pace. Answer. B. Explanation. Alexander Greenlaw's 1856 photographs helped scholars study the site's architecture. Q5. From 1876, who began systematically documenting and translating the inscriptions found at Hampi? A. J.F. Fleet. B. James Prinsep. C. Daya Ram Sahni. D. Mortimer Wheeler. Answer. A. Explanation. J.F. Fleet began an extensive campaign to record and translate the temple inscriptions. Q6. Which of the following is not a primary source used to reconstruct the history of Vijayanagara? A. Foreign travelers' accounts. B. Oral traditions of priests. C. Mughal court chronicles. D. Inscriptions and monuments. Answer. C. Explanation. Mughal chronicles focused on the north. Vijayanagara history relies on local epigraphy and foreign accounts. Q7. According to local oral traditions, the hills of Hampi were associated with the monkey kingdom of Kishkindha from which epoch? A. Ramayana. B. Mahabharat. C. Silippadikaram. D. Manimikalai. Answer. A. Explanation. The rocky granite hills are traditionally linked to Kishkindha of the Ramayana. Q8. In which year was the Vijayanagara Empire founded? A. 1236 CE. B. 1485 CE. C. 1565 CE. D. 1336 CE. Answer. D. Explanation. The empire was founded in 1336 by Harihara and Bukka. Q9. Who were the founding brothers of the Vijayanagara Empire? A. Krishnadeva and Achyuta. B. Rama Raya and Tirumala. C. Sluva Narsimha and Narasa-Nayaka. D. Harihara and Bukka. Answer. D. Explanation. Harihara and Bukka of the Sangamar dynasty founded the empire. Q10. What is the literal translation of the word Vijayanagara? A. City of elephants. B. City of gods. C. City of wealth. D. City of victory. Answer. D. Explanation. Vijayanagara translates directly to City of Victory. Q11. The Vijayanagara Empire was situated primarily in the Doab, inter-river region, of which two rivers? A. Kaveri and Tungabhadra. B. Narmada and Tapti. C. Krishna and Tungabhadra. D. Godavari and Krishna. Answer. C. Explanation. The core of the empire was located in the fertile Krishna-Tungabhadra Doab. Q12. Which dynasty ruled the Vijayanagara Empire first, from its founding until 1485? A. Sluva. B. Sangama. C. Tuluva. D. Aravidu. Answer. B. Explanation. The Sangama dynasty was the first to rule, holding power from 1336 to 1485. Q13. The rulers of Orissa, who were contemporaries and rivals of Vijayanagara, were known by which title? A. Chhatrapati. B. Ashwapati. C. Narapati. D. Gajapati. Answer. D. Explanation. The rulers of Orissa were termed Gajapatis, meaning lords of elephants. Q14. The Deccan Sultans, known for their powerful cavalry, were referred to in contemporary texts as A. Ashwapati. B. Gajapati. C. Bhupati. D. Narapati. Answer. A. Explanation. The Deccan Sultans were termed Ashwapatis, meaning lords of horses. Q15. In contrast to their rivals, the Rayas, rulers of Vijayanagara were often referred to as A. Pashupati. B. Narapati. C. Ashwapati. D. Gajapati. Answer. B. Explanation. The Vijayanagara Rayas were termed Narapatis, or lords of men, infantry. Q16. The term Yavana, frequently used in Sanskrit texts, was historically used to refer to A. Greeks and other peoples entering from the northwest. B. Peasant cultivators of the south. C. Temple architects from Orissa. D. Seafaring merchants of Kerala. Answer. A. Explanation. Yavana was originally applied to Greeks and later to Turks and Afghans. Q17. The Vijayanagara rulers styled themselves as Hindu Suratrana. What does this term imply? A. Divine emperors. B. Lords of the sea. C. Hindu sultans. D. Protectors of cows. Answer. C. Explanation. Hindu Suratrana was a Sanskritized translation of the Arabic term Sultan, meaning Hindu sultans. Q18. Which dynasty replaced the Sangamas in 1485 and ruled until 1503? A. Tuluva. B. Sluva. C. Hoysala. D. Aravidu. Answer. B. Explanation. The Sluvas, who were military commanders, usurped power in 1485. Q19. Krishnadeva Raya, the most famous ruler of Vijayanagara, belonged to which dynasty? A. Tuluva. B. Sangama. C. Aravidu. D. Sluva. Answer. A. Explanation. Krishnadeva Raya belonged to the Tuluva dynasty, which replaced the Sluvas. Q20. Krishnadeva Raya's rule is primarily characterized by A. Expansion and consolidation. B. Decline and fragmentation. C. Transfer of the capital to Penukonda. D. Religious persecution. Answer. A. Explanation. His reign was marked by massive expansion, including subduing Orissa and Bijapur. Q21. In which year did Krishnadeva Raya acquire the fertile Raichur Doab? A. 1512. B. 1520. C. 1514. D. 1565. Answer. A. Explanation. He acquired the Raichur Doab in 1512, a major strategic and economic victory. Q22. Krishnadeva Raya inflicted a severe defeat on the Sultan of Bijapur in which year? A. 1514. B. 1512. C. 1520. D. 1565. Answer. C. Explanation. The Sultan of Bijapur was decisively defeated by Krishnadeva Raya in 1520. Q23. Krishnadeva Raya authored a famous work on statecraft titled Amuktamalyada. In which language was it written? A. Sanskrit. B. Kannada. C. Tamil. D. Telugu. Answer. D. Explanation. Amuktamalyada is a masterpiece of Telugu literature focusing on royal duties. Q24. According to the Amuktamalyada, which was a king's primary duty regarding foreign merchants? A. To attract them with presents and concessions to secure horses and elephants. B. To force them to convert to the local religion. C. To banish them to protect local artisans. D. To heavily tax them to fund temple construction. Answer. A. Explanation. Krishnadeva Raya advised treating foreign merchants well to ensure the steady supply of war horses. Q25. Krishnadeva Raya founded a suburban township near Vijayanagara. What was it called, and who was it named after? A. Kamalapuram, after his sister. B. Chandragiri, after his father. C. Hospet, after his wife. D. Nagalpuram, after his mother. Answer. D. Explanation. He founded Nagalpuram, named in honor of his mother. Q26. The Battle of Talikota, which dealt a fatal blow to the Vijayanagara Empire, took place in which year? A. 1512. B. 1485. C. 1565. D. 1520. Answer. C. Explanation. The Battle of Talikota, Rikshasi Tangadi, was fought in 1565. Q27. Who was the chief minister of Vijayanagara who led the army into the disastrous Battle of Talikota? A. Achyuta Deva Raya. B. Tirumala. C. Rama Raya. D. Sadashiva Raya. Answer. C. Explanation. Raya, the de facto ruler, led the army against the allied Deccan Sultans. Q28. The allied forces that defeated Vijayanagara at Talikota comprised the armies of which sultanates? A. Bidar, Berar, and Bijapur. B. Bijapur, Bidar, and Delhi. C. Ahmednagar, Golconda, and Berar. D. Bijapur, Ahmednagar, and Golconda. Answer. D. Explanation. The forces of Bijapur, Ahmednagar, and Golconda combined to destroy Vijayanagara. Q29. After the sack of Vijayanagara, the Aravidu dynasty shifted its capital eastward to which locations? A. Jinji and Vellore. B. Mysore and Srirangapatna. C. Madurai and Tanjore. D. Penukonda and later Chandragiri. Answer. D. Explanation. The Aravidu dynasty retreated east and ruled from Penukonda and Chandragiri. Q30. What was the primary reason for the alliance of the Deccan Sultans against Vijayanagara in 1565? A. Control over the Portuguese horse trade. B. Dispute over the Raichur-Doab boundaries only. C. Rayas' policy of playing one sultan against another. D. Religious fanaticism of the sultans exclusively. Answer. C. Explanation. Rayas' adventurous policy of playing the sultans against each other ultimately united them against him. Q31. In the Vijayanagara Empire, military chiefs who controlled forts and had armed supporters were known as A. Mansabdars. B. Iktadars. C. Nayaka. D. Poligars. Answer. C. Explanation. Nayaka were powerful military chiefs who usually spoke Telugu or Kannada. Q32. The Amara-Nayaka system of Vijayanagara is frequently compared by historians to which system of the Delhi Sultanate? A. Jagirdari system. B. Mansabdari system. C. Ikta system. D. Dehsala system. Answer. C. Explanation. The Amara-Nayaka system shares striking similarities with the Ikta system of the Delhi Sultanate. Q33. The term Amara is believed to be derived from the Sanskrit word Samara, which means A. Land grant. B. Royal decree. C. Immortal. D. Battle or war. Answer. D. Explanation. Samara means battle or war, reflecting the military nature of the Nayaka. Q34. Which of the following was not an obligation of the Amara-Nayaka? A. Maintaining a stipulated contingent of elephants and horses. B. Remitting an annual tribute to the king personally. C. Providing military assistance to the rear during wars. D. Minting their own independent gold currency. Answer. D. Explanation. Amara-Nayaka were not permitted to mint their own independent currency. Q35. How did the Vijayanagara kings traditionally assert their control over the powerful Amara-Nayaka? A. By transferring them from one territory to another occasionally. B. By replacing them exclusively with Portuguese mercenaries. C. By denying them any revenue collection rights. D. By forcing them to live permanently in the capital. Answer. A. Explanation. Kings asserted control by occasionally transferring Nayaka between territories. Q36. Which river formed a natural bowl and provided the essential water network for the capital city? A. Godavari. B. Kaveri. C. Krishna. D. Tungabhadra. Answer. D. Explanation. The Tungabhadra River, flowing north-eastwards, formed the core water network. Q37. Which of the following was the most important water tank built in the 15th century to supply water to the royal center? A. Daroji tank. B. Kamalapuram tank. C. Hiriya Canal. D. Anantasagara. Answer. B. Explanation. The Kamalapuram tank irrigated fields and channeled water to the royal center. Q38. The Hiriya Canal, which drew water from a dam across the Tungabhadra, was primarily built by kings of which dynasty? A. Sangama dynasty. B. Aravidu dynasty. C. Sluva dynasty. D. Tuluva dynasty. Answer. A. Explanation. The Hiriya Canal is attributed to the kings of the early Sangama dynasty. Q39. Abdur Razak, an ambassador sent by the ruler of Persia to Calicut in the 15th century, noted how many lines of forts in Vijayanagara? A. 5. B. 9. C. 3. D. 7. Answer. D. Explanation. Abdur Razak noted 7 lines of forts that enclosed the city and fields. Q40. What was the most unique and historically significant feature of the Vijayanagara fortifications? A. They relied heavily on deep water moats filled with crocodiles. B. They enclosed agricultural tracts and extensive forests within the walls. C. They were entirely circular with no corners. D. They were built exclusively of imported marble. Answer. B. Explanation. Enclosing agricultural tracts ensured the city could survive prolonged sieges without starving. Q41. How were the stone blocks of the Vijayanagara fort walls fastened together? A. They were wedge-shaped and held in place by interlocking, without mortar. B. They were bound using thick iron clamps and lead. C. They were cemented using a strong lime mortar. D. They were carved from a single continuous rock face. Answer. A. Explanation. The masonry was entirely dry. The wedge-shaped blocks held themselves in place. Q42. The architecture of the gateways in the fort walls, featuring arches and domes, was influenced by which style? A. Indo-Islamic architecture introduced by the Turkish Sultans. B. Pure Dravidian temple architecture. C. Gothic architecture introduced by the Portuguese. D. Buddhist stupa architecture. Answer. A. Explanation. The arches and domes reflect Indo-Islamic architectural features. Q43. Archaeologists suggest that the urban core of Vijayanagara was inhabited by rich traders because they found fine varieties of A. Egyptian glass. B. Persian carpets. C. Roman coins. D. Chinese porcelain. Answer. D. Explanation. The discovery of Chinese porcelain in the urban core suggests occupation by wealthy merchants. Q44. What evidence indicates the presence of a Muslim residential quarter within the Vijayanagara capital? A. The complete absence of Hindu temples in that specific sector. B. A large Persian inscription declaring it a separate autonomous zone. C. Accounts by Babur detailing his visit to the city. D. Tombs and mosques whose architecture resembles the mandapas of Hampi temples. Answer. D. Explanation. Tombs and mosques blending Islamic and local temple architectural elements were found there. Q45. Which 16th century Portuguese traveler described the houses of ordinary people in Vijayanagara as thatched but well built and arranged in long streets? A. Domingo Pace. B. Vasco da Gama. C. Duarte Barbosa. D. Fernão Nunes. Answer. C. Explanation. Duarte Barbosa provided a detailed description of the dwellings of ordinary citizens. Q46. The Royal Center of Vijayanagara was located in which part of the settlement? A. Eastern outskirts. B. Southwestern part. C. Northeastern part. D. Central island in the river. Answer. B. Explanation. The Royal Center was situated in the southwestern part of the settlement. Q47. Despite its name, the Royal Center included over 60 of which type of structures? A. Temples. B. Minting houses. C. Granaries. D. Elephant stables. Answer. A. Explanation. The inclusion of 60 temples in the Royal Center highlights royal patronage of cults for legitimacy. Q48. What is a key architectural difference between temples and secular palaces in Vijayanagara? A. Palaces were built outside the fort walls, temples inside. B. Palace superstructures were made of perishable materials, while temples were entirely masonry. C. Temples were built without roofs, while palaces had large domes. D. Palaces lacked any defensive walls, unlike temples. Answer. B. Explanation. Secular structures used perishable materials, wood, for superstructures, unlike stone temples. Q49. The Mahanavami Dibba is a massive platform located in the highest point of the city. What is the approximate area of its base? A. 25,000 square feet. B. 5,000 square feet. C. 2,000 square feet. D. 11,000 square feet. Answer. D. Explanation. The base of the Mahanavami Dibba measures approximately 11,000 square feet. Q50. Which Hindu festival, celebrated in autumn, is most closely associated with the rituals performed at the Mahanavami Dibba? A. Dashehra, Navratri, Durga Puja. B. Makar Sankranti. C. Holi. D. Diwali. Answer. A. Explanation. The platform is associated with the 10-day Hindu autumn festival, Mahanavami, Dashehra. Q51. Which of the following events did not typically occur during the Mahanavami festival at Vijayanagara? A. Signing of treaties with the Deccan Sultans. B. Presentations of tribute by the Nayaka to the king. C. Worship of the state horse and sacrifice of animals. D. Dances, wrestling matches, and processions of caparisoned elephants. Answer. A. Explanation. There is no record of signing treaties with rival sultans during this religious festival. Q52. What is the name of the beautiful structure in the royal center that was named by 19th century British travelers, and possibly served as a council chamber? A. Queen's Bath. B. Lotus Mahal. C. Hazara Rama Temple. D. Elephant Stables. Answer. B. Explanation. The Lotus Mahal was named by British romanticists. Mackenzie's map suggests it was a council chamber. Q53. According to Colin Mackenzie's map, the Lotus Mahal may have functioned as a watchtower for the military. B. Council chamber where the king met his advisors. C. Personal shrine for the queens. D. Royal mint for gold coins. Answer. B. Explanation. Mackenzie identified it as a council chamber for the king and his advisors. Q54. The Hazara Rama temple in the royal center was likely used exclusively by A. The ordinary citizens on festival days. B. The king and his royal family. C. The foreign merchants and ambassadors. D. The Amara-Nayaka during the Mahanavami festival. Answer. B. Explanation. The Hazara Rama temple was a private shrine meant only for the king and his family. Q55. The inner walls of the Hazara Rama temple are decorated with sculpted panels depicting scenes from which epic? A. Bhagavata Purana. B. Ramayana. C. Mahabharata. D. Shiva Purana. Answer. B. Explanation. The temple features beautifully sculpted panels illustrating the Ramayana. Q56. The sacred center of Vijayanagara is situated at the rocky northern end of the city, along the banks of which river? A. Kaveri. B. Paynar. C. Krishna. D. Tungabhadra. Answer. D. Explanation. The sacred center is located along the banks of the Tungabhadra river. Q57. According to local tradition, Pampa Devi did penance in the hills of Hampi in order to marry which deity? A. Ranganatha. B. Tirupati Balaji. C. Vitthala. D. Virupaksha. Answer. D. Explanation. Pampa Devi did penance to marry Virupaksha, the guardian deity of the kingdom. Q58. Lord Virupaksha is a local form of which major Hindu deity? A. Vishnu. B. Kartike. C. Shiva. D. Brahma. Answer. C. Explanation. Virupaksha is recognized as a form of Lord Shiva. Q59. To assert their divine connection, the Vijayanagara kings claimed to rule on behalf of Lord Virupaksha. All royal orders were signed in Kannada script as A. Shri Virupaksha. B. Shri Pampa. C. Shri Rama. D. Shri Krishna. Answer. A. Explanation. Kings signed their royal edicts with Shri Virupaksha to demonstrate divine mandate. Q60. What architectural feature did Vijayanagara kings add to temples to signal their immense power and dwarf the central shrines? A. Garbhagrihas, sanctums. B. Vamanas, tower over the shrine. C. Rear gopurams, massive gateways. D. Mandipas, pillared halls. Answer. C. Explanation. Rear gopurams were towering gateways that visibly demonstrated imperial wealth and power. Q61. Who built the monumental eastern gopuram of the Virupaksha temple? A. Krishnadeva Raya. B. Harihara I. C. Achyuta Deva Raya. D. Rama Raya. Answer. A. Explanation. Krishnadeva Raya built the eastern gopuram to mark his accession to the throne. Q62. Which deity, originally a form of Vishnu worshipped primarily in Maharashtra, became a major cult in Vijayanagara? A. Vitthala. B. Srinathji. C. Jagannatha. D. Venkateshwara. Answer. A. Explanation. The introduction of the Vitthala cult shows how Vijayanagara assimilated regional traditions. Q63. The Vitthala temple complex is famous for a unique stone structure shaped like a Nandi bull. B. Peacock. C. Chariot. D. Lotus. Answer. C. Explanation. The Vitthala temple contains an iconic stone shrine carved in the shape of a chariot. Q64. In Vijayanagara, the streets that extended from the temple gopurams in a straight line, paved with stone slabs, were known as A. Chariot streets. B. Bazaar streets. C. Processional paths. D. Royal avenues. Answer. A. Explanation. Chariot streets, Ratha Vidhis, were designed for grand temple processions and lined with pavilions. Q65. The major project to extensively map, photograph, and document the surface of Hampi was launched by the ASEAN researchers in which year? A. 1856. B. 1976. C. 1800. D. 1947. Answer. B. Explanation. In 1976, Hampi was recognized as a site of national importance, launching a massive mapping project. Q66. Which group of scholars famously worked for nearly 20 years to document the layout of Vijayanagara, dividing the site into 25 square alphabetical zones? A. John M. Fritz, George Mitchell, and M.S. Nagaraja Rao. B. Mortimer Wheeler and Alexander Cunningham. C. Colin, Mackenzie and Alexander Greenlaw. D. J.F. Fleet and John Marshall. Answer. A. Explanation. Fritz, Mitchell, and Nagaraja Rao systematically mapped the sprawling ruins over 2 decades. Q67. Domingo Pace compared the size and grandeur of Vijayanagara to which famous European city? A. London. B. Paris. C. Athens. D. Rome. Answer. D. Explanation. Pace wrote that the city seemed as large as Rome and incredibly beautiful. Q68. Which Portuguese traveler provided a detailed account of the Mahanavami festival, noting the king's rich clothing and the massive military processions? A. Duarte Barbosa. B. Niccolo da Conti. C. Domingo Pace. D. Fernão Nunes. Answer. C. Explanation. Domingo Pace's detailed chronicles give an eyewitness account of the Mahanavami celebrations. Q69. Which traveler's account is highly valuable for its detailed description of the Amara-Nayaka system and the collection of royal revenue? A. Abdur Razak. B. Domingo Pace. C. Fernão Nunes. D. Afanasi Nikitin. Answer. C. Explanation. Fernão Nunes, a horse trader, documented the political and military administration intricately. Q70. Why did the Vijayanagara kings invest heavily in building monumental temples? A. To empty the state treasury so Nayaka could not steal it. B. To legitimize their authority by associating themselves with the divine. C. To create defensive military bunkers disguised as religious sites. D. To accommodate the growing population of Portuguese merchants. Answer. B. Explanation. Temple patronage was a crucial strategy for rulers to claim divine sanction and legitimize their rule. Q71. Reason R. They retained a part of this revenue for personal use and for maintaining a stipulated contingent of horses and elephants. A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. B. A is true but R is false. C. A is false but R is true. D. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. Answer. A. Explanation. The tax collection directly funded their military obligations to the state. Q72. What does the presence of numerous small shrines and temples within the urban core and royal center suggest about Vijayanagara society? A. Temples were the only allowed form of architecture. B. The kings forced all citizens to convert to Shaivism. C. It was a multicultural society with diverse religious affiliations. D. There was no centralized religion, leading to civil war. Answer. C. Explanation. The variety of shrines points to a vibrant, diverse population with varied religious practices. Q73. The Vijayanagara rulers adopted titles indicating their superiority over rival kingdoms. If Gajapati means Lord of Elephants, what does Ashwapati mean? A. Lord of Horses. B. Lord of Men. C. Lord of the Seas. D. Lord of Wealth. Answer. A. Explanation. Ashwapati translates to Lord of Horses, referring to the cavalry-rich Deccan Sultans. Q74. Which Italian traveler visited Vijayanagara in the 1420s and left an account of its vast circumference? A. Niccolo da Conti. B. Abdur Razak. C. Fernão Nunes. D. Duarte Barbosa. Answer. A. Explanation. Niccolo da Conti visited early in the 15th century during the Sangama dynasty. Q75. How did the geography of the Tungabhadra river assist the defense of Vijayanagara? A. It was completely diverted to form an artificial moat. B. It formed a rocky gorge and natural defenses on the northern perimeter. C. It flooded annually, wiping out invading camps. D. It was impossible to cross due to boiling thermal springs. Answer. B. Explanation. The river and the surrounding granite hills formed a formidable natural defensive barrier. Q76. In 1565, the Battle of Rikshasi Tangadi, Talikota, saw the defeat of Vijayanagara. Who was the commanding general of the Vijayanagara forces? A. Sadashiva Raya. B. Rama Raya. C. Krishnadeva Raya. D. Achyuta Deva Raya. Answer. B. Explanation. Rama Raya, though technically a minister, commanded the army and was killed in the battle. Q77. The Aravidu dynasty, the fourth and final ruling family of the empire, governed from which stronghold after the fall of Hampi? A. Madurai. B. Jinji. C. Tanjore. D. Chandragiri. Answer. D. Explanation. They ruled from Penukonda and later Chandragiri, far to the east of Hampi. Q78. Which of the statements are correct? A. 2 only. B. Neither 1 nor 2. C. 1 only. D. Both 1 and 2. Answer. A. Explanation. It is located in the royal center, not the sacred center. Therefore, only statement 2 is correct. Q79. The Lotus Mahal was primarily constructed using which architectural style? A. A blend of Indo-Islamic arches and Hindu temple-like superstructures. B. Strictly Dravidian with no arches. C. Persian purely imported without local elements. D. Purely Gothic with stained glass windows. Answer. A. Explanation. The Lotus Mahal perfectly exemplifies the syncretic Indo-Islamic architectural style of the royal center. Q80. Who among the following was a prominent Russian merchant who visited the South Indian subcontinent in the 15th century? A. Afanasy Nikitin. B. Niccolo da Conti. C. Duarte Barboza. D. Abdur Razak. Answer. A. Explanation. Afanasy Nikitin traveled to the Deccan and recorded his observations in The Journey Beyond Three Seas. Q81. Which structural element of the Vijayanagara fortifications most impressed the Persian ambassador Abdur Razak? A. The enclosure of agricultural fields within the fortified walls. B. The presence of a massive steel gate. C. The construction of underground escape tunnels. D. The use of gunpowder cannons on every tower. Answer. A. Explanation. He was astonished that vast agricultural tracts and forests were protected within the outer walls. Q82. The rear gopurams were massive gateways built by Vijayanagara kings. What was their primary practical function in the visual landscape? A. To serve as defensive watchtowers armed with cannons. B. To act as prominent landmarks visible from a great distance, signaling the presence of a temple. C. To house the royal treasury. D. To provide living quarters for the temple priests. Answer. B. Explanation. Their immense height served as religious and political landmarks across the landscape. Q83. What was the primary purpose of the Kamalapuram tank? A. To be used exclusively for royal bathing during Mahanavami. B. To breed fish for the royal kitchen. C. To serve as a defensive moat against cavalry. D. To irrigate nearby fields and supply water to the royal center via a channel. Answer. D. Explanation. It was a crucial piece of infrastructure for both agriculture and urban water supply. Q84. Reason R. He successfully subdued the rulers of Orissa and the Sultan of Bijapur, expanding the empire's frontiers. A. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. B. A is true but R is false. C. A is false but R is true. D. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. Answer. D. Explanation. His military successes secured the borders, allowing for unprecedented cultural and economic prosperity. Q85. In Vijayanagara, what does the term Kudirai Chettis refer to? A. Local communities of horse merchants. B. Military commanders of the Nayaka system. C. Priests of the Virupaksha temple. D. Guilds of Portuguese spice traders. Answer. A. Explanation. Kudirai Chettis were local merchant communities specializing in the vital horse trade. Q86. Why was the trade in horses incredibly important for the Vijayanagara Empire? A. Cavalry was the decisive factor in warfare against the rival Deccan Sultanates. B. Horses were the primary export commodity to China. C. Horses were required for agricultural plowing in the rocky terrain. D. The king mandated horse sacrifices during Mahanavami. Answer. A. Explanation. Superior cavalry was essential to counter the formidable armies of the Ashwapatis, Deccan Sultans. Q87. The Vijayanagara kings claimed to rule on behalf of the deity Virupaksha. This is evidenced by which of the following practices? A. Forcing all citizens to wear a Shiva linga. B. Destroying all temples dedicated to Vishnu. C. Renaming the capital to Virupakshapura. D. Signing royal orders with Shri Virupaksha. Answer. D. Explanation. The royal signature Shri Virupaksha clearly demonstrated their claim to divine agency. Q88. What distinct feature of the Hazara Rama temple suggests it was reserved for the royal family? A. Its location strictly within the royal center and lack of access from the public urban core. B. It is the only temple built on a mountain peak. C. It is entirely built of gold and silver. D. It lacks a central deity shrine. Answer. A. Explanation. Its physical placement within the enclosed royal zone indicates private royal usage. Q89. The Portuguese traveler Domingo Pace visited Vijayanagara during the reign of which king? A. Achyuta Deva Raya. B. Rama Raya. C. Krishna Deva Raya. D. Harihara I. Answer. C. Explanation. Pace visited around 1520-22, during the height of Krishna Deva Raya's power. Q90. According to Fernão Nunes, how did the Vijayanagara kings interact with the Amara-Nayaka regarding revenue? A. The king confiscated all lands every 5 years. B. The Nayaka sent tribute to the king annually and appeared personally with gifts. C. The Nayaka paid taxes directly to Portuguese merchants. D. The king had no claim over the Nayaka revenue. Answer. B. Explanation. Nunes detailed how Nayaka paid annual tributes to display loyalty to the Raya. Q91. Which structural feature of Hampi's architecture was completely dry masonry, built without mortar? A. The brick superstructures of temples. B. The massive stone fort walls. C. The plaster decorations on the Mahanavami Dibba. D. The domes of the Lotus Mahal. Answer. B. Explanation. The wedge-shaped stone blocks of the fort walls were held entirely by gravity and friction. Q92. What is a mandipa in the context of Vijayanagara temple architecture? A. A chariot used in festivals. B. A towering gateway entrance. C. A pillared pavilion or hall for public rituals and gatherings. D. The inner sanctum containing the main deity. Answer. C. Explanation. Mandapas are extensive pillared halls attached to the main shrines, often used for marriage or music rituals. Q93. The presence of a chariot street, extending from the Gopuram is a hallmark of Vijayanagara town planning. These streets were primarily used for A. Processions of the temple deity on a wooden chariot during festivals. B. Racing chariots for royal entertainment. C. Cavalry parades by the Amara-Nayaka. D. Market streets exclusively selling foreign horses. Answer. A. Explanation. Ratha Vidhis, chariot streets, were designed for grand religious processions. Q94. Reason R. This area was chosen because of its proximity to the Kamalapuram tank. A is false but R is true. B. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. C. A is true but R is false. D. Both A and R are false. Answer. D. Explanation. The sacred center was in the rocky northern end by the river, not the southwestern part, which was the royal center. Q95. In the context of Hampi's mapping in 1976, what methodology did archaeologists use to document the site? A. Using exclusively satellite imagery without ground surveys. B. Excavating the entire 40 square kilometers area down to the bedrock. C. Relying completely on Colin Mackenzie's original 1800 map. D. Dividing the area into 25 square zones, each designated by a letter of the alphabet. Answer. D. Explanation. The site was meticulously divided into 25 grid squares, A to Z, skipping 1 to systematically plot structures. Q96. Which historian and epigraphist famously noted that the ruins of Hampi can be studied not just from buildings, but from the landscape itself? A. J.F. Fleet. B. Abdul Razak. C. George Mitchell. D. Colin Mackenzie. Answer. C. Explanation. George Mitchell, along with John Fritz, emphasized the integration of architecture and the natural landscape. Q97. The Vijayanagara Empire reached its zenith during the rule of the Tuluva dynasty. Who was the founder of the Tuluva dynasty? A. Harihara II. B. Krishnadeva Raya. C. Veera Narsimha. D. Sluva Narsimha. Answer. C. Explanation. Veera Narsimha established the Tuluva dynasty after overthrowing the Sluvas. Q98. Which of the following elements strongly reflects the influence of Islamic architecture in the royal center of Vijayanagara? A. The Ramayana panels on the Hazara Rama temple. B. The domes and arches on the Lotus Mahal and elephant stables. C. The towering rear gopurams. D. The stone chariot in the Vitthala temple. Answer. B. Explanation. The secular structures in the royal center frequently employed Indo-Islamic arches and domes. Q99. What commodity was considered so valuable that the Vijayanagara king's fort was to ensure access to its trade routes along the western coast? A. Arabian and Central Asian horses. B. Chinese silken porcelain. C. Indonesian cloves. D. Sri Lanka cinnamon. Answer. A. Explanation. War horses were critical for military survival against the cavalry of the Deccan Sultans. Q100. Who among the following wrote a detailed manual on statecraft called Amuktamalyada? A. Tenali Rama. B. Krishnadeva Raya. C. Bukka I. D. Rama Raya. Answer. B. Explanation. Krishnadeva Raya was an accomplished scholar who wrote this famous Telugu text. Q101. According to the Amuktamalyada, what is the ideal trait of a successful king? A. He should collect wealth, protect his subjects, and treat foreign merchants with consideration. B. He should hand over administration completely to the military chiefs. C. He should destroy all rival temples. D. He should renounce the world and become an ascetic. Answer. A. Explanation. He advocated a balanced approach of wealth accumulation, protection, and promoting trade. Q102. What did Abdul Razak find most surprising about the markets of Vijayanagara? A. That all goods were given away for free by royal decree. B. The absence of any metal coins. C. The sheer abundance of roses, which were sold everywhere like staple food. D. That merchants strictly bartered horses for gold. Answer. C. Explanation. He noted that roses were sold everywhere, indicating a highly sophisticated and prosperous urban lifestyle. Q103. The massive stone, Mahanavami Dibba, features relief carvings on its sides. What do these carvings primarily depict? A. Naval battles with the Portuguese. B. Processions of animals, dancers, and hunting scenes. C. Verses from the Quran. D. Maps of the empire. Answer. B. Explanation. The platform sides are covered with vibrant reliefs of martial and festive life. Q104. Why did the British Romanticists likely name the structure Lotus Mahal? A. Because it was painted entirely pink. B. Because of its beautiful lotus-shaped arches and domes. C. Because it was built in the middle of a lotus pond. D. Because it was exclusively dedicated to goddess Lakshmi. Answer. B. Explanation. The name derives from the distinct, elegant, lotus-like shape of its multi-lobed arches. Q105. Reason R. Elephants were crucial for the Vijayanagara army and royal processions, necessitating large, well-built shelters near the administrative hub. A. A is true but R is false. B. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. C. A is false but R is true. D. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. Answer. B. Explanation. The monumental scale of the stables reflects the importance of elephants to the state's military and ceremonial power. Q106. Which deity's temple features musical pillars that produce different musical notes when struck? A. Pampa Devi Temple. B. Virupaksha Temple. C. Vitthala Temple. D. Hazara Rama Temple. Answer. C. Explanation. The iconic Vitthala temple is renowned for its intricately carved musical pillars. Q107. The core of the Vijayanagara Empire, the Rayas, had intense border disputes with the Gajapatis. Where was the Gajapati kingdom located? A. Kerala. B. Orissa. C. Bengal. D. Gujarat. Answer. B. Explanation. The Gajapati dynasty ruled the region of modern-day Orissa, Orissa. Q108. What role did the Nayaka play in the political decline of the Vijayanagara Empire after 1565? A. They asserted their independence and established separate kingdoms, leading to the empire's fragmentation. B. They allied exclusively with the Portuguese to rebuild Hampi. C. They voluntarily surrendered all lands to the Deccan Sultans. D. They migrated to North India to join the Mughal army. Answer. A. Explanation. Following the defeat at Talikota, powerful Nayaka broke away, forming independent states like Madurai and Tanjore. Q109. The Amara-Nayaka system was a major political innovation of the Vijayanagara Empire. How were the territories, Amara, assigned to them? A. By the Raya king, for them to govern and collect revenue. B. By a democratic election among the peasants. C. Purchased from Portuguese merchants. D. Through hereditary divine right independent of the king. Answer. A. Explanation. The king granted them territories to govern, from which they collected taxes to maintain their armies. Q110. According to Fernão Nunes, which was a severe consequence for an Amara-Nayaka if they failed to fulfill their military obligations to the Raya. A. There were no consequences. The system was entirely voluntary. B. They were promoted to the royal council. C. They were permanently exiled to Sri Lanka. D. The Raya could confiscate their property and punish them. Answer. D. Explanation. Nunes noted that the king held absolute authority and could severely punish defaulting Nayaka. Q111. Which of the following accurately describes the Hiriya Canal? A. It was an underground escape tunnel for the royal family. B. It was built by the Sangama kings to draw water from a Tungabhadra dam to irrigate the sacred center and urban core. C. It was a Portuguese navigational canal connecting Hampi to Goa. D. It was a natural river that dried up in the 15th century. Answer. B. Explanation. The Hiriya Canal represents the sophisticated hydraulic engineering of the early Vijayanagara rulers. Q112. What was the primary material used for the superstructures, roofs and towers, of secular buildings in the royal center? A. Imported marble. B. Perishable materials like wood and brick. C. Wattle and daub. D. Solid granite blocks. Answer. B. Explanation. While foundations were stone, palaces had wooden, brick superstructures which have since perished. Q113. Domingo Pace described a massive structure built by Krishnadeva Raya after a victorious campaign in Orissa, calling it the House of Victory. This is identified today as A. The Virupaksha Gopuram. B. The Mahanavami Dibba. C. The Elephant Stables. D. The Lotus Mahal. Answer. B. Explanation. Pace's House of Victory aligns with the massive ceremonial platform known as Mahanavami Dibba. Q114. The discovery of a large number of wells, rainwater tanks, and temple tanks in the ordinary residential areas of Hampi suggests A. That water was solely reserved for the royal family. B. That the Tungabhadra river had completely dried up. C. A highly sophisticated and decentralized water management system for the common populace. D. That the area suffered from constant, unmanageable flooding. Answer. C. Explanation. It shows that comprehensive water infrastructure was integrated into daily urban life. Q115. Reason R. The towering Gopuram was intended to serve as a visual statement of imperial wealth and power, signaling the king's divine patronage. A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true but R is false. D. A is false but R is true. Answer. A. Explanation. Gopurams were monumental political statements of the patron king's glory. Q116. Which architectural motif, seen extensively on the gateways of Vijayanagara, is a clear indicator of Islamic architectural influence? A. Pointed arches and domes. B. Vamana step towers. C. Lotus-shaped mandapas. D. Corbelled stone lintels. Answer. A. Explanation. The use of true arches and domes on the fort gateways reflects Indo-Islamic synthesis. Q117. The Vijayanagara kings highly valued the shrine of Pampambika, Pampa Devi. Who is Pampambika? A. The patron saint of the Portuguese merchants. B. A local goddess who is the consort of Lord Virupaksha. C. A legendary queen of the Sangama dynasty. D. The sister of Krishnadeva Raya. Answer. B. Explanation. Pampambika is the local goddess whose marriage to Virupaksha is a central myth of Hampi. Q118. What distinguished the chariot streets, Ratha Vidhis, of Vijayanagara from ordinary roads? A. They were underground tunnels connecting temples. B. They were exclusively made of dirt to ease the chariot wheels. C. They were paved with stone slabs and lined with pillared pavilions for merchants. D. They were constantly flooded with water. Answer. C. Explanation. They were grand, paved avenues designed for festival processions and lined with commercial pavilions. Q119. Which of the following rulers is credited with writing the Amuktamalyada? A. Bukka Raya. B. Harihara I. C. Krishnadeva Raya. D. Deva Raya II. Answer. C. Explanation. Krishnadeva Raya is celebrated both as a great warrior and a literary giant. Q120. The Battle of Talikota in 1565 is also historically known by the names of the two villages near the battlefield. What are they? A. Raichur and Mudgal. B. Penukonda and Chandragiri. C. Hampi and Anagond. D. Rikshasi and Tangadi. Answer. D. Explanation. The battle is commonly known in local histories as the Battle of Rikshasi Tangadi. Q121. Who was the first Surveyor General of India who mapped the Hampi ruins in 1800? A. Alexander Cunningham. B. James Prinsep. C. John Marshall. D. Colin Mackenzie. Answer. D. Explanation. Colin Mackenzie was appointed Surveyor General in 1815 after his earlier work mapping South India. Q122. What was the major consequence of the Battle of Talikota for the city of Vijayanagara? A. The city was handed over to the Portuguese. B. The city was heavily fortified and successfully repelled the invaders. C. The city was sacked, looted, and eventually abandoned within a few years. D. The city became the new capital of the Bijapur Sultanate. Answer. C. Explanation. The victorious armies systematically destroyed the capital, leaving it in ruins. Q123. According to the accounts of foreign travelers, which surrounded the city of Vijayanagara protecting its agricultural hinterland. A. A dense ring of active volcanoes. B. 7 lines of massive stone walls. C. A deep ocean trench. D. An incrossable desert. Answer. B. Explanation. Abdur Razak noted 7 concentric lines of fortification encompassing fields and forests. Q124. Which Portuguese traveler explicitly stated that the city of Vijayanagara was as large as Rome, and very beautiful to the sight? A. Duarte Barbosa. B. Fernão Nunes. C. Domingo Pace. D. Vasco da Gama. Answer. C. Explanation. Pace was deeply impressed by the scale, wealth, and beauty of the capital. Q125. The Gajapati rulers, contemporaries of Vijayanagara, primarily governed which region? A. Kashmir. B. Gujarat. C. Orissa. D. Malwa. Answer. C. Explanation. The Gajapatis were a powerful dynasty ruling the eastern coastal region of Orissa. Q126. What was the primary function of the Nayaka in the Vijayanagara Empire? A. They were military chiefs who controlled forts and armed contingents. B. They were exclusively foreign maritime traders. C. They were the chief architects of the Raya Gopurams. D. They were high priests of the Virupaksha temple. Answer. A. Explanation. Nayaka were the backbone of the military and political administration. Q127. Reason R. Colin Mackenzie surveyed the site in 1800 based on the living memory of local priests. A is true but R is false. B. A is false but R is true. C. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. D. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. Answer. B. Explanation. The ruins were never completely forgotten. Local people remembered them as Virupaksha or Hampi. Q 128. The Hazara Rama temple is renowned for which specific type of artistic decoration on its walls? A. Fresco paintings of the Battle of Talikota. B. Calligraphic verses from the Quran. C. Bronze mirrors reflecting the rising sun. D. Sculpted panels depicting scenes from the Ramayana. Answer. D. Explanation. The temple is famous for its intricate narrative reliefs of the Ramayana epic. Q 129. Which text mentions that the Vijayanagara kings claimed the title, Hindu Suratrana? A. The Travelogue of Marco Polo. B. Contemporary royal inscriptions. C. Baburnama. D. The Amuktamalyada. Answer. B. Explanation. Royal inscriptions from the period proudly use this title to equate the Rayas with the power of Sultans. Q 130. The assimilation of the Vitthala cult into Vijayanagara state religion demonstrates. A. The forced conversion of all citizens to a single sect. B. The complete rejection of Shaivism by the Tuluva kings. C. The isolationist policies of the Vijayanagara state. D. The empire's ability to integrate diverse regional traditions to expand its cultural hegemony. Answer. D. Explanation. By patronizing Vitthala, a Maharashtrian deity, the Rayas culturally unified their diverse subjects. Q 131. What is the name of the famous 16th century battle that led to the downfall of the Vijayanagara Empire? A. Battle of Haldighati. B. Battle of Panipat. C. Battle of Talikota. D. Battle of Plassey. Answer. C. Explanation. The Battle of Talikota, 1565, shattered the central power of the empire. Q 132. Which architectural feature is notably absent in the stone fort walls of Vijayanagara? A. Mortar or cementing agents. B. Gateway arches. C. Wedge-shaped stone blocks. D. Gateway domes. Answer. A. Explanation. The walls were constructed using precise dry masonry without any mortar. Q 133. Who was the author of The Journey Beyond Three Seas? A. Niccolo da Conti. B. Domingo Pace. C. Abdul Razak. D. Afanasy Nikitin. Answer. D. Explanation. The Russian merchant Nikitin wrote this account of his 15th century travels. Q 134. According to archaeological surveys, the urban core of Vijayanagara lacked which of the following? A. Grandiose stone palaces for ordinary citizens. B. Wells and rainwater tanks. C. Small local shrines. D. Evidence of diverse trade communities. Answer. A. Explanation. Ordinary houses were made of perishable materials, thatch, mud, not grand stone. Q 135. Which structural addition to temples was a distinct innovation of the Vijayanagara period? A. Towering rear gopurams and massive pillared kalyana mandapas. B. Unadorned stupas. C. Rock-cut cave sanctuaries. D. Wooden pagoda roofs. Answer. A. Explanation. The monumental gopurams and elaborate mandapas, like the Kalyana mandapa, were distinct Vijayanagara signatures. Q 136. The mapping of Hampi involved dividing the entire site into a grid of 25 squares. Each square was designated by A ruling dynasty's name. B. A local river name. C. A letter of the alphabet. D. A Roman numeral. Answer. C. Explanation. The site was divided into 25 squares denoted by alphabetical letters A to Z, omitting I or O. Q 137. In 1986, the ruins of Hampi received which major international recognition? A. Declared a new wonder of the world. B. Designated as an unpeacekeeping zone. C. Awarded the Nobel Prize for Architecture. D. Declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Answer. D. Explanation. Hampi's historical and architectural significance earned it UNESCO World Heritage status in 1986. Q 138. Review question. Who brought the ruins of Hampi to light in 1800? A. Alexander Greenlaw. B. J.F. Fleet. C. John Marshall. D. Colin Mackenzie. Answer. D. Explanation. Colin Mackenzie, an engineer and antiquarian, prepared the first survey map in 1800. Q 139. Review question. In 1815, Colin Mackenzie was appointed as the first person to hold which post? A. Director General of ASSI. B. Surveyor General of India. C. Viceroy of India. D. Chief Epigraphist. Answer. B. Explanation. He became the first Surveyor General of India in 1815 and held it till 1821. Q 140. Review question. The local name, Hampi, is derived from the name of which local mother goddess? A. Pampa Devi. B. Durga. C. Chenakeshava. D. Meenakshi. Answer. A. Explanation. The name Hampi is derived from the local mother goddess, Pampa Devi. Q 141. Review question. Who began taking the first detailed photographs of the monuments at Hampi in 1856? A. Colin Mackenzie. B. Alexander Greenlaw. C. Thomas Daniel. D. Domingo Pace. Answer. B. Explanation. Alexander Greenlaw's 1856 photographs helped scholars study the site's architecture. Q 142. Review question. From 1876, who began systematically documenting and translating the inscriptions found at Hampi? A. J.F. Fleet. B. Daya Ram Sahni. C. James Prinsep. D. Mortimer Wheeler. Answer. A. Explanation. J.F. Fleet began an extensive campaign to record and translate the temple inscriptions. Q 143. Review question. Which of the following is not a primary source used to reconstruct the history of Vijayanagara? A. Oral traditions of priests. B. Foreign travelers' accounts. C. Inscriptions and monuments. D. Mughal court chronicles. Answer. D. Explanation. Mughal chronicles focused on the north. Vijayanagara history relies on local epigraphy and foreign accounts. Q 144. Review question. According to local oral traditions, the hills of Hampi were associated with the monkey kingdom of Kishkindha from which epoch? A. Ramayana. B. Mahabharat. C. Silippadikaram. D. Manimikalai. Answer. A. Explanation. The rocky granite hills are traditionally linked to Kishkindha of the Ramayana. Q 145. Review question. In which year was the Vijayanagara Empire founded? A. 1336 CE. B. 1485 CE. C. 1236 CE. D. 1565 CE. Answer. A. Explanation. The empire was founded in 1336 by Harihara and Bukka. Q 146. Review question. Who were the founding brothers of the Vijayanagara Empire? A. Rama Raya and Tirumala. B. Sluva Narsimha and Narasanayaka. C. Harihara and Bukka. D. Krishnadeva and Achyuta. Answer. C. Explanation. Harihara and Bukka of the Sangama dynasty founded the empire. Q 147. Review question. What is the literal translation of the word Vijayanagara? A. City of elephants. B. City of wealth. C. City of gods. D. City of victory. Answer. D. Explanation. Vijayanagara translates directly to City of Victory. Q 148. Review question. The Vijayanagara Empire was situated primarily in the Doab, inter-river region, of which two rivers? A. Krishna and Tungabhadra. B. Godavari and Krishna. C. Narmada and Tapti. D. Kaveri and Tungabhadra. Answer. A. Explanation. The core of the empire was located in the fertile Krishna-Tungabhadra Doab. Q 149. Review question. Which dynasty ruled the Vijayanagara Empire first, from its founding until 1485? A. Tuluva. B. Sluva. C. Sangama. D. Aravidu. Answer. C. Explanation. The Sangama dynasty was the first to rule, holding power from 1336 to 1485. Q 150. Review question. The rulers of Orissa, who were contemporaries and rivals of Vijayanagara, were known by which title? A. Chhatrapati. B. Gajapati. C. Ashwapati. D. Narapati. Answer. B. Explanation. The rulers of Orissa were termed Gajapatis, meaning lords of elephants.